I'm Tammy Gallant. I'm known as TS Gallant Photography. I chose TS Gallant way back when I first started because I'm photographing for the Sports Car Club of America, and I was the only woman doing it, so nobody was taking me seriously. So I thought TS was really ambiguous. No one would know, and it just kind of stuck. About 6 years ago, I decided to narrow it down, and I specialize in maternity, newborn, and child. My subspecialty in that is fine art, children's portraiture. So I do a lot of composite work and a lot of fine art work. That's my passion. And I'm in
So,
Billings, Montana, where it's cold.
so why did you decide to kind of narrow down into those specific genres?
It's funny because when I first started out 20 years ago, 21, 22 years ago, um, my motto was people, pet, and products because I love doing everything, and I still do. I love all genres of photography. But my daughter, she got her master's degree in marketing, and she said, "Mom, you really need to just pick something." And I knew it was not going to be weddings, and I thought the only two things that are guaranteed, photographically speaking, are newborns and wedding. So I just decided that I would do babies, which I love children, so that worked out nicely.
Nice. Well, so kind of talking about you were talking about fine art and composite work. Can you explain that a little bit more? What does that mean?
For me, I love dark and moody, and that doesn't necessarily mean fine art. That's just my style of fine art. Like the Rembrandt lighting and things that are darker. That's what I love. But my goal when I say fine art is that I want what I do to look like a painting. Like people can't tell if I took a photo or if I took a photo of a painting. And that's what I like. So I put a lot of thought into props and backdrops, wardrobe, planning the lighting, because I want that specific look. And for composite work, that's just fun. And that's where you take like a photograph of a person, and Photoshop's gotten really good in the last couple of years for selecting subject where you don't have to use like a green screen. So you just photograph it like on a gray or white backdrop, black if you're going for something dark, and then extract the subject and then create your own reality from that. So you just take bits and pieces like a castle and a dragon, a forest from somebody that was just sitting at a kitchen table. Um, and then I just create something that's magical. At least I hope it's magical. That's the goal.
And when you're doing that, you're mostly working with maybe like what, like 5 to 12-year-old children or something like that?
I can actually do composite work with anybody. My goal is when I do clients, no matter what I'm seeing them for, is that I throw at least one composite in there because it's what I like to do and it's what I like to show. And so far, knock on wood, it's always sold. So other people seem to like it too. But yeah, the biggest kick I get is like, wait, how did you do that? Or is that real? So that's a compliment to me, but I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. Do you have like one session that was particularly memorable or funny that you just remember really well?
I can tell you my most memorable one was not a good memory. It was the toughest newborn session. Actually, this is the toughest session I've ever had of any kind in my life. Um, but it was such a beautiful story. I wanted to be a part of it. A woman had contacted me from out of state, and she was adopting a child. And she had already had two adoptions that fell through. Like the last one, the day she was supposed to pick up the baby, she waited and waited and waited. The lawyer didn't show up. Nobody showed up. And she got the call back finally after calling all morning to find out that the mom had changed her mind. So she had flown in, and she said she wasn't going to do it anymore. Long story short, it ended up she was getting this baby. So she asked if I would do it. I'm like, oh, that's such a beautiful story. Absolutely. And because of the trauma the first two times, she hadn't even told her other child. So it was she didn't want the disappointment because he cried and he was very upset. But anyway, so I'm doing this, and we're supposed to do it in the morning. The baby was supposed to be discharged, but the baby was born addicted to crack cocaine. So yeah, so they didn't get out. She had to catch a flight at 5 o'clock in the morning. So the baby didn't get discharged from the hospital until 7:30 p.m. So she had already paid for it. So I'm trying to help. So we go to her hotel room because I'm telling you, this woman, she looked like she'd been drugged through the ringer. She was beyond exhausted. So I'm at their hotel room, like 35 miles away. starting at like 8 o'clock at night with a baby that screamed the entire time. I was till midnight. We were trying so hard. So that was probably the most memorable.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, okay, so let's say someone is looking for a photographer in the genres that you specialize in. What advice would you give them when they're on the hunt for that person?
I would say probably the biggest, especially when you're working with newborns and children, even more so newborns than children, not to be afraid to ask the questions, what is your training? What experience do you have? Because there is nothing more precious to a mom than a newborn baby. And as you know, I'm sure newborns can, I mean, they're pliable, but you can damage one. You can damage a baby very easily and not even know it. So I think it's very important for newborn photographers to get trained. It's not that expensive and it's worth it in the long run for baby safety. So I don't hear that question asked a lot. So that's one of the first things that I volunteer. Just so you know, I am trained. I was an EMT. I was a nurse. So I want people to know that. But I think parents should ask that. They should be more proactive in asking that question.
That's great advice. Well, can you talk a little bit about your client closet and why you think that's kind of a neat asset to have for your clients?
I um I love that. First of all, one of the reasons that when I was younger, about a million years ago, didn't get any maternity photos is because I couldn't afford any of the dresses. And I thought it was silly to waste that much money when you're going to wear it for an hour, 2 hours, and then you're stuck with it. And what are you going to do? Sell it on eBay for $20? So that's one of the things I like to take off my mom's plates. They don't have to worry about the dresses. They can just come make a day of it. They can bring their best friend, their mom, a group, whatever. I put a little charcuterie tray out there. We have juices or whatever, sparkling juice, and then let them just try on stuff. Let them have a day of it. And they have fun when they bring the kids, like the teenage daughters, they have fun. You can hear them laughing back there. But I like also creating what I want to create. And the best way I can do that is if I provide the outfits, because then I know what I'm going to get, and somebody's not going to show up with a bright orange floral dress because that's not my style. So, two benefits there. But I think I have 50 maternity dresses right now, and skirts and bodysuits, and I would still get more. My husband tells me I'm crazy, but there's just so many sizes, colors, styles. They come out every year. And I just love having a big, what looks like a store, and when you walk in and let people just try on and have a good time. But I do like having a big variety, and I have a variety for kids, newborns. I don't have a lot of boys, but I do have some. And because I love fine art, most of my boys' things are authentic antique clothing, like from the mid 19th century, late 19th century. So I love 1800, I love Edwardian, I love Victorian. So I have a lot of genuine articles for them to wear.
Well, where can people find you the easiest? Where are you on social media, or what's your best way to get a hold of you?
I kind of ignore Facebook more than what I should. I'm on Instagram a lot, but it's TS Gallant Photography for both, for Instagram and for Facebook. And my website is also tsgallantphotography.com. So I'm pretty easy.